Whether you love or hate weapons, there are a lot of them out there. Wow, that's impressive. And there's a lot to learn if you want to get good at using them. But even the biggest gun enthusiasts don't know everything about them, because there are simply too many weapons on the market for anyone to be an expert in all of them. That's what's being set in motion when I pull the trigger. These are 18 horrifying and bizarre weapons you may have never heard of. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Now, let's get started. Number 18. The punt gun. Among the most extraordinary firearms in history is the punt gun, an exceptionally large shotgun used primarily for duck hunting in the 19th and early 20th centuries. The name comes from the fact that these massive guns were often mounted on punts, which are small, flat-bottomed boats. Punt guns were gigantic. Some exceeded 3 meters, 10 feet in length, and weighed up to 64 kilograms, 140 pounds. They were typically muzzle-loaded and used black powder, much like the muskets of the time. What made these guns unique was their enormous barrel diameter, which could exceed 5 centimeters or 2 inches, and the sheer volume of projectiles fired. A single shot could contain more than half a kilogram of lead, capable of taking down dozens of waterfowl in one blast. This hunting method was extremely efficient, though indiscriminate. Hunters could harvest large quantities of birds with just one shot, making it a favorite tool among commercial hunters looking to maximize their haul. Reports indicate that experienced operators could bring down over 50 birds with a single shot. However, the widespread use of punt guns raised serious concerns about overhunting, contributing to the decline of waterfowl populations in various regions. The massive size and the danger of operating such a large weapon also led to restrictions and eventually bans in many places. Today, punt guns are museum pieces, fascinating relics of a bygone era. Their size and historical significance make them noteworthy, illustrating the extremes humans have gone to in the pursuit of hunting efficiency and the lasting impact this had on conservation efforts. Number 17. The knock gun. The knock gun stands out in the history of firearms thanks to its remarkable 7-barrel flintlock design. Created by British gunsmith Henry Knock in the late 18th century, it was commissioned by the Royal Navy for shipboard combat, specifically to repel enemy boarding parties. The 7 barrels were arranged in a hexagonal pattern and fired simultaneously using a single flintlock mechanism. Looking at the muzzle, you'd see that all 7 barrels were intended to discharge at once. This setup was meant to deliver overwhelming firepower in a single blast, theoretically allowing the shooter to hit multiple targets with one shot. Despite its innovation, the knock gun had major drawbacks. The recoil from firing 7.75 caliber projectiles at once was brutal, often injuring the shooter. Additionally, the massive muzzle flash made it dangerous in confined spaces, especially on wooden ships full of flammable materials. These flaws made the weapon less practical than expected, leading to a relatively short service life. Still, its unusual design earned the knock gun a unique place in firearm history. Its multi-barrel construction ensures it remains an iconic and fascinating relic in the evolution of weaponry. Its odd build and the challenges it presented offer a compelling glimpse into the constant search for more effective combat tools. Number 16. The role of boarding pikes. While boarding pikes are not firearms, they played a crucial role in naval warfare for centuries, often complementing early firearms, which justifies their inclusion here. Boarding pikes were long, spear-like weapons essential during maritime battles in the Age of Sail, typically measuring between 6 and 8 feet, 1.8 to 2.4 meters. These weapons featured a wooden shaft with a steel tip at the end, designed to keep attackers at a distance. They allowed sailors to form a formidable barrier against invaders during boarding actions. Defenders would line up holding their pikes to push back enemies attempting to climb aboard, creating an almost impenetrable wall of sharp points, similar to a phalanx formation. Boarding pikes were used in conjunction with firearms. Sailors and Marines would first fire their muskets and pistols at the enemy, then switch to pikes when the attackers closed in. This combination allowed defenders to control the threat while their comrades reloaded their weapons, maintaining a defensive advantage. As naval warfare evolved and shifted focus to artillery and aircraft, the use of boarding pikes declined. However, they represent a fascinating period when traditional melee weapons and early firearms coexisted. Though not firearms themselves, boarding pikes remain an intriguing part of naval combat history, showing how different types of weaponry were used together to enhance effectiveness in battle. Number 15. The FP-45 Liberator. The FP-45 Liberator is a remarkable weapon in history, not for its advanced features or firepower, but for its simplicity, ease of production, and unusual purpose. Designed by the United States during World War II, the Liberator was created as a low-cost, easily distributed firearm for resistance fighters in occupied territories. This smoothbore, single-shot pistol was chambered for 45 ACP ammunition and built using stamped sheet metal parts with minimal components. The Liberator was intentionally simple. It had a short, unrifled barrel, a side-mounted striker, and a basic grip that stored an extra round. Operation was extremely basic. Cock the striker, load a round into the chamber, close the breech, aim, and manually release the striker to fire. With no extractor, spent cartridges had to be removed using a wooden dowel stored in the grip. Around 1 million FP45s were produced with the intention of being airdropped behind enemy lines for use by resistance fighters. The idea was for the Liberator to quietly eliminate an enemy soldier, allowing the user to then take a more effective weapon. Each pistol came with a comic-style instruction manual designed for users who might not speak English or be literate. In practice, the Liberator's limited range and accuracy, along with its slow reload time, made it ineffective in extended combat. However, its true impact lay in its psychological value, symbolizing the power of ordinary individuals to resist occupation forces. The FP45 Liberator stands out as an iconic example of mass production and unconventional weapon design, representing the strength of simplicity and strategic innovation. Number 14. The zip gun phenomenon. The term zip gun refers to a category of improvised firearms typically assembled from basic materials such as metal pipes, rubber bands, and nails. These homemade weapons vary greatly in design, functionality, and safety. In its most basic form, a zip gun may consist of a metal pipe acting as the barrel and a cap with a firing pin, which is often just a nail. To operate a zip gun, a cartridge is inserted into the barrel and the weapon is fired by striking the cap. Despite their crude construction, zip guns can be surprisingly lethal, as they are capable of firing standard ammunition. These weapons are often created in situations where legal firearms are inaccessible or banned, such as in prisons or in countries with strict gun control laws. They exemplify the innovation that emerges from necessity in the world of firearms. However, due to their imprecise construction and lack of safety features, zip guns are extremely dangerous. While they highlight human ingenuity under restricted conditions, these weapons occupy a peculiar and unsettling niche in the history of firearms due to the risks they pose and their unconventional nature. Number 13. The Gabbett Fairfax Mars Pistol. The Gabbett Fairfax Mars, often simply called the Mars, is a notable example of early 20th century firearm innovation. Created by the British company Gabbett Fairfax, this semi-automatic pistol was designed with the ambition to become a high-caliber military weapon. The Mars stands out for its enormous size, powerful ammunition, and a complex long recoil mechanism. It was available in several large calibers, with the most powerful being the .45 Mars long. This cartridge was significantly stronger than others of the time, producing a tremendous recoil. This powerful recoil made the Mars infamous for its difficult handling, with testers describing the experience as extremely unpleasant. The pistol's long recoil system was unusual, involving both the barrel and the bolt moving together over a greater distance than the length of the cartridge before separating and returning to their original positions. This resulted in a double recoil effect, which, combined with the heavy ammunition, further exacerbated the handling difficulties. Despite its ambitious design and innovative features, the Mars proved too bulky and complicated for practical use. Fewer than 100 units were produced, and the British Army rejected it after testing due to the extreme recoil and complicated mechanism. The Gabbett Fairfax Mars remains an intriguing, yet impractical chapter in firearm history, marked by its bold design and notable failures. Number 12. The Ring Pistol. The ring pistol, also known as Le Petit Protecteur, is a fascinating example of miniature firearm engineering from the 19th century. This tiny revolver was designed to be worn on the finger like a piece of jewelry, with the firing mechanism cleverly embedded in the ring itself. This compact weapon used extremely small ammunition, available in 2mm or 4mm side primer cartridges. Despite having a functional cylinder and trigger, the diminutive size of the ring gun severely limited its firepower and accuracy. Primarily intended for self-defense at close range, it allowed the user to fire at an aggressor with a quick movement similar to a punch. While demonstrating remarkable ingenuity, its practical limitations and inefficiency make it a curious yet impractical addition to the history of firearms. Its reduced size and limited shooting capability classify it more as a historical relic than as a real defensive tool. Number 11. The Mauser Broom Handle. The Mauser broom handle, officially known as the Mauser C96, is a semi-automatic pistol produced by the German manufacturer Mauser between 1896 and 1937. It earned its nickname due to its distinctive wooden grip, which resembles the end of a broomstick handle. The C96 is notable for several unique features, including its internal magazine located in front of the trigger and its reloading mechanism via a stripper clip. Unlike the more common detachable magazines, this pistol also came with a wooden holster that could be converted into a shoulder stock. Despite its unconventional design, the C96 was effective and was used in several conflicts around the world. The unique design of the Mauser broom handle and its influence on the evolution of semi-automatic pistols make it a significant, albeit eccentric, chapter in the history of firearms. Number 10. The Korobov TKB-022. The Korobov TKB-022 is a series of assault rifle prototypes developed by Russian designer Gennady Nikonov between 1962 and 1965. This weapon stands out due to its bullpup configuration, where the mechanism and the magazine are positioned behind the trigger, allowing for a shorter overall length without sacrificing barrel size. The TKB-022 is particularly notable for its front ejection system, designed to make the rifle ambidextrous. This system directed empty cartridges forward through a tube beside the barrel, preventing hot casings from hitting the shooter, something especially advantageous for left-handed users. Despite its innovative design and advanced features, the TKB-022 was never mass-produced, mainly due to its complexity and concerns about reliability under challenging conditions. The Korobov TKB-022 remains an intriguing and unusual entry in firearm history due to its distinct design and pioneering solutions. Number 8. The Glove Pistol. The glove pistol, officially known as the Sedgley OSS .38 glove pistol, is one of the most curious and unusual weapons ever developed during World War II. It serves as a fascinating example of inventions created in the context of secret warfare and espionage, where ingenuity and discretion were essential. This singular weapon was conceived by Stanley M. Haight, an engineer at the Sedgley Company, on behalf of the Office of Strategic Services, OSS, a U.S. military intelligence agency that would later evolve into the famous CIA. Unlike any conventional weapon, this pistol was designed to be attached to a glove, allowing the agent to carry an almost invisible weapon without drawing attention. The mechanism was fixed to the back of the hand, embedded in the upper part of the glove, and could be triggered with a simple punching motion, firing a .38 caliber round at close range. The idea was to provide agents with a last line of defense in situations where carrying a traditional weapon would be impossible or highly risky. The concept was extremely innovative for the time, reflecting the urgency to create alternative and stealthy combat methods. However, despite its ingenuity, the glove pistol had several significant limitations. Its range was virtually non-existent, requiring the operator to be extremely close to the target and only allowing for a single shot. Additionally, the risk of accidents or failure during use was considerable. Any error in the movement or preparation could result in injury to the agent. For these reasons, the weapon was never widely distributed or used in the field. It remained more of an experiment, a technical curiosity within the realm of clandestine operations, given to only a few agents working on very specific missions. Even so, its existence reinforces how creativity and boldness shaped the espionage force's arsenal at the time. Today, the Sedgley OSS .38 glove pistol is seen as a rare and intriguing piece of military history. Some examples survive in museums and private collections, sparking the interest of enthusiasts and historians due to the boldness of the design and the idea behind the weapon. Its legacy lies not in its effectiveness in battle, but in how it represents the experimental and inventive spirit of secret operations in wartime. Number 7. The Cane Gun. The cane gun, known in English as walking stick gun or also poacher's gun, is an intriguing example of concealed weaponry that has spanned generations. It became especially popular between the 18th and 19th centuries, a period when the need for self-defense was real, but social norms restricted the open carrying of firearms. The ingenuity behind these weapons reflects the creativity of the time in combining functionality and disguise with remarkable effectiveness. These weapons were skillfully designed to pass as ordinary canes. Visually, there was no indication of containing a lethal mechanism inside. However, hidden in the hollow shaft of the cane was a firing mechanism capable of shooting a small caliber projectile. Generally, these weapons had a single-shot mechanism, and the trigger was camouflaged, often disguised as a decorative part of the handle or activated by an almost imperceptible button. This allowed the user to act quickly and with surprise in dangerous situations. The popularity of cane guns was especially high among gentlemen who, due to etiquette or social status, could not be seen carrying conventional weapons. They offered an elegant and discreet form of personal protection. Additionally, they were used by travelers, explorers, and even secret agents who valued the ability to carry a weapon without raising suspicion. Some more sophisticated models went even further in terms of innovation. There were examples designed to fire automatically when the tip of the cane was struck forcefully against the ground, creating a sudden and unpredictable attack effect. Other models allowed firing with a slight movement of the handle, requiring skill and practice from the user. In some cases, these canes even concealed blades, functioning as double weapons. Despite all the ingenuity involved, cane guns had considerable limitations. The main issue was their single-shot capacity, meaning that after firing, the user was practically defenseless until they could reload, which took time and couldn't be done discreetly. Additionally, accuracy was limited, making these weapons more suitable for close defense than for any prolonged confrontation. With the advancement of weapon technology and the creation of more practical and efficient firearms, cane guns eventually fell into disuse. However, today they are considered true historical relics, valued by collectors and admired by enthusiasts of military history and espionage. They represent a time when form and function had to coexist in perfect harmony, often out of pure necessity for survival without drawing attention. Number 6. The Elgin Machete Pistol. The Elgin machete pistol, patented by George Elgin in 1837, is a distinctive weapon known for its dual functionality. This unique weapon combined a single-shot .54 caliber pistol with a Bowie-style knife. It was designed for naval use, allowing sailors to attack enemies at a distance with the pistol and then switch to close-quarters combat with the integrated blade. The pistol featured a curved blade attached beneath the barrel, extending from the handle. A limited number of these weapons were acquired by the U.S. Navy for the South Sea Expedition in 1838. However, the Elgin machete pistol proved impractical due to its heavy design and dual-use nature. Despite this, it demonstrated an inventive approach to close combat weaponry. Its complexity and limited utility made it an uncommon and rarely reproduced weapon. Number 5. The Puckle Gun. The Puckle gun, also known as the defense gun, is one of the most peculiar and ambitious weapons of the early 18th century. Created by British inventor James Puckle in 1718, this weapon represented an audacious attempt to revolutionize military technology with a concept of rapid fire that was far ahead of its time. In an era dominated by single-shot muskets and extremely slow manual reloading, the idea of a weapon capable of firing several shots in quick succession seemed almost futuristic, and that is exactly what Puckle aimed to achieve. The design of the Puckle gun consisted of a large weapon mounted on a tripod, equipped with a rotating cylinder that allowed the operator to fire multiple shots in rapid succession without needing to reload between each shot. Its mechanism used the flintlock system, the most common of the time, and operated similarly to a modern revolver on a larger scale. The barrel was fixed, but the drum rotated, allowing the insertion of multiple cartridges, making the weapon a sort of primitive machine gun, although far from the firing rate of later automatic weapons. However, what really made the Puckle gun enter history in an unusual way was its dual-purpose ammunition. James Puckle designed two distinct types of projectiles: round bullets, meant to be used against enemy Christians, and square bullets, specifically intended against Ottoman Muslims, then called Turks. It was falsely believed that the square-shaped projectiles would cause more painful and lethal wounds, serving as an additional form of punishment against the infidels. This distinction, based on religious beliefs and the spirit of conflict of the time, is now seen as a reflection of early 18th century ethnocentric and ideological thinking. Despite its innovation and Puckle's ambitious intention to equip British ships with this weapon for defense against enemy boarding, the Puckle gun was not commercially successful. Only a few units were produced, and the complexity of the mechanism, combined with the slow process of changing cylinders, made it impractical for large-scale military use. Additionally, operational failures and production challenges severely limited its adoption. Today, the Puckle gun is remembered more as a historical curiosity than as a functional weapon. Even so, it holds an important place in the development of automatic firearms, being one of the first documented attempts to increase the rate of fire in portable armaments. Its rudimentary but ingenious design foreshadows elements that would only be successfully applied nearly 2 centuries later with the invention of the first modern machine guns. Number 4. The Duck's Foot Pistol. The duck's foot pistol, named for its striking resemblance to a duck's foot, emerged in the late 18th century as an unconventional solution for combat in confined spaces. This flintlock revolver stood out with its distinctive arrangement of 4 barrels extending outward, resembling the fingers of a duck. Each barrel could be fired simultaneously, creating a spread of projectiles that was particularly effective in tight or crowded spaces. The primary function of the pistol was to provide a means of defense against multiple attackers, making it especially useful for individuals such as prison guards, naval officers, and even police officers in urban settings. The design allowed for a wide, dispersive attack, making it easier to hit multiple targets at once during a close-quarters confrontation. This capability was highly valued in situations where traditional firearms with a single barrel would be less effective. Despite its innovative approach, the duck's foot pistol faced several limitations. The most notable issue was its limited range and accuracy. The spread of shots, while advantageous in close combat, quickly diminished as the distance increased, making the pistol less effective in engagements beyond short range. Additionally, the spread-out barrels added bulk to the weapon, making it difficult to carry and handle. Another challenge with the duck's foot pistol was the complexity of its manufacture. The alignment of the barrels and the mechanism required precise engineering to ensure all 4 barrels fired correctly, increasing production costs and difficulties. Moreover, the unusual appearance of the weapon often led to it being considered impractical or even a curiosity, rather than a serious combat tool. Curiously, the duck's foot pistol also found its way into popular culture and literature as a symbol of eccentric firearm design. Its unique form and functionality made it a point of fascination for collectors and historians interested in the evolution of firearms. It remains a testament to the inventive spirit of the time, reflecting both the need for specialized weaponry and the creativity involved in its development. In summary, while the effectiveness of the duck's foot pistol was limited by its range and weight, its distinctive design and innovative approach to dealing with multiple threats made it a memorable and intriguing weapon. An example of 18th century weapon technology, its combination of practicality and eccentricity ensures its place as a notable curiosity in the history of firearms. Number 3. The Apache Revolver. The Apache revolver, a product of late 19th century France, stands out for its extraordinary combination of weaponry designed with the notorious street gangs of Paris in mind. This firearm combines a revolver, a knife, and brass knuckles into a single multifunctional tool. Its design reflects the innovative and often improvised approach of urban criminals seeking an all-in-one weapon for close-quarter combat. The revolver component of the Apache was notably unconventional. It lacked a traditional barrel and fired .44 caliber ammunition at a low velocity. This design choice limited its effectiveness to very short distances, making it suitable for surprise attacks but less reliable for anything beyond close-range confrontations. The revolver's cylinder held 6 rounds, and the absence of rifling in the barrel contributed to its low accuracy and range. One of the most intriguing features of the Apache revolver was its transformation. When folded into its compact form, the handle acted as a pair of brass knuckles, providing the user with an additional tool for hand-to-hand combat. This feature was especially useful in street fights, where close-quarter combat was common. The weapon also included a blade, adding a third layer of versatility. While rudimentary, the blade was meant for use in knife fights or as a backup weapon in case the revolver ran out of ammunition. The design of the Apache revolver was not only based on functionality, but also on intimidation and psychological impact. The combination of firearm, brass knuckles, and knife made it a fearsome and versatile tool in the hands of its users. However, its practical use was limited. The revolver's inaccuracy, combined with its awkward nature and the difficulty of switching between its various functions, made it less effective as a standard firearm. In addition to its use by street gangs, the Apache revolver also piqued the interest of collectors and historians. It represents a unique intersection between weapon design and criminal ingenuity. The mix of firearm, hand-to-hand combat tool, and personal defense weapon reflects the creative approach of the time to personal armament, marking it as a notable, though eccentric, entry in the history of firearms. Its unusual design and historical context make the Apache revolver a fascinating example of experimentation with weaponry of the era. Number 2. The Lamont Revolver. The Lamont revolver, an inventive weapon designed by Jean-Alexandre Lama of New Orleans, stands out as a notable example of 19th century weaponry. This revolver, used during the American Civil War, was remarkable for its unique double-barrel design. It featured a primary rifled barrel for .42 or .36 caliber bullets, along with a secondary smoothbore barrel capable of firing lead shot. This combination allowed the user to switch between precision shots and a spread shot, offering tactical flexibility in various combat scenarios. The Lamont revolver was equipped with a manual switching mechanism that allowed the shooter to choose between the rifled barrel and the smoothbore barrel. This innovative feature provided versatility, making the weapon effective both at long range and in close-quarter combat. The smoothbore barrel was particularly useful in situations that required a spread shot, such as skirmishes or ambushes, where hitting multiple targets at once was advantageous. On the other hand, the rifled barrel offered accuracy for engaging enemies at greater distances, demonstrating the revolver's adaptability. Despite its ingenuity, the Lamont revolver faced significant challenges. Its design, while innovative, made the weapon relatively heavy and difficult to handle. The dual barrel system added considerable bulk, which combined with the manual switching mechanism complicated its use and handling. The complexity of the revolver also led to reliability issues, particularly under the harsh conditions of battlefield combat. Maintaining the weapon required meticulous care, making its practical use even more challenging. The unique features of the Lamont revolver made it a distinct yet eccentric piece in the history of firearms. Its dual functionality reflected a broader trend during the Civil War of seeking multi-purpose weapons that could provide tactical advantages. However, its practical limitations, such as weight, complexity, and reliability issues, meant it was not adopted or successful like other weapons of the time. In addition to its military use, the Lamont revolver became a collector's item and a subject of historical interest. Its design showcases the experimentation of the era with firearm technology and highlights the ongoing quest for more effective and versatile weaponry. Despite its limited impact on the battlefield, the Lamont revolver remains a fascinating example of 19th century firearm innovation. Number 1. The duckbill musket. In the 18th century, British forces used the duckbill musket, also known as the blunderbuss. This weapon was distinguished by its flared muzzle, shaped like a duck's bill, which dispersed the shot in a spread pattern. The design was particularly effective in close-range combat, functioning similarly to a shotgun. The duckbill musket was favored in naval confrontations and street fights, where its spread shot could repel multiple attackers. Its wide muzzle allowed for a large number of projectiles to be fired at once, making it highly effective at short distances but less accurate at longer ranges. The blunderbuss was commonly used by naval crews to defend ships from invaders. The spread shot made it ideal for repelling enemy sailors attempting to board. On land, the musket was employed in street brawls and ambushes, where its ability to cover a wide area could turn the tide of battle. The weapon's design also included a relatively short barrel, which increased its maneuverability in confined spaces. Interestingly, the duckbill musket's design evolved from earlier firearms such as the Dragon, which also featured a flared muzzle. The evolution of the duckbill musket reflected the growing emphasis on versatility and effectiveness in close-quarter combat during the 18th century. In this century, the weapon was not only practical but also symbolic of the technological innovations of its time. Despite its advantages, the duckbill musket had limitations. Its accuracy was inherently compromised due to the dispersion of projectiles, making it ineffective for precision shots. Additionally, the large muzzle made the musket difficult to load and reload. However, its effectiveness in specific scenarios ensured its place in military history. The duckbill musket, with its unique design and functional dexterity, is a notable example of early firearm technology. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed our content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Don't forget to check out other interesting content appearing on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video. See you next time.